Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next-level tactics. From off-site and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition.
What is mobile-first indexing and why it matters for SEO? There's been plenty of talk about mobile-first indexing for a few years, but what is it? How does it work? Are any web pages at risk of being de-indexed? Although Google first introduced mobile-first indexing in 2016, SEO communities are still talking about the implications and effects on ranking. The initial introduction of mobile-first indexing was Google's attempt to make search results as mobile-friendly as possible. Years later, people are still wondering what the effects are or will be on non-mobile web pages. While some people have said there's no reason to be concerned, that's not entirely true. While mobile-first indexing began as a Google experiment, the company is now taking it very seriously as a Google standard. If your website isn't mobile-friendly, it's only a matter of time before you'll see your rankings drop, or worse, your pages might be excluded from Google's index. In other words, while you might already know that mobile-first indexing might suppress your desktop webpage rankings, as of 2021, you probably haven't heard that desktop results are being dropped entirely from Google's index. That's definitely something to be concerned about. According to Search Engine Journal, as of March 2021, John Mueller confirmed that all desktop-only websites will be dropped from Google's index. What was once just an experiment has now become a standard. If your website is not mobile-friendly, you won't get indexed in Google. What does Google say about mobile-first indexing? On November 4, 2016, Google published an official announcement about how the company was beginning to experiment with mobile-first indexing. This experiment was launched in response to the fact that more people were browsing the Internet from a mobile device. Google wanted to make sure its search algorithms provided mobile users with the best experience possible. Back in 2016, webmasters were still creating separate websites for mobile users and serving an entirely different experience to desktop users. Prior to the mobile-first experiment, mobile users would get the short end of the stick in searches. Desktop web pages were given more ranking importance than mobile pages simply because Google's algorithm evaluated pages based on content. Since mobile pages usually had less content, they weren't ranking alongside the desktop pages equally. This meant mobile users would be given desktop results even when mobile pages existed. Mobile-first indexing was launched to fix this dilemma and make using the Internet a better experience for mobile users. Around 2016, more people were accessing the Internet primarily from mobile devices, so Google felt it was time to make a big change to support mobile users. Naturally, webmasters have been concerned regarding the status of desktop results. However, Google clarified that if you have a mobile-friendly site design, there is nothing to be concerned about. Google's announcement explicitly stated that responsive websites that display the same content to mobile and desktop users won't be affected. However, you do need to be concerned if you're serving a different version of your website to mobile users. If you've been reading older announcements and analysis of mobile-first indexing to try to figure out what's going on, you don't have the full story. Mobile-first indexing has been evolving for the last several years and there is no more leniency for desktop-only websites. Mobile-first indexing has evolved since 2016. Google doesn't usually roll out a change without evolving that change over time. The mobile-first indexing rollout is no longer an experiment, but a standard. The full details will be discussed further down in this article, but you need to know that Googlebot is being retired and replaced with a smartphone Googlebot. This means Google is now indexing all web pages with a smartphone bot. If the smartphone Googlebot can't access webpage content because it's not mobile-friendly, it won't make it into Google's index. People are concerned that mobile-first indexing will cause desktop pages to stop ranking since Google never publicly discloses the finer details regarding its search ranking criteria. The most people have been able to do is perform experiments and document their results. It's hardly a scientific approach, but it's the best we've got. Even so, once you have a full understanding of what mobile-first indexing is and why it exists, you won't need to be so concerned. There are simple solutions. In the last few years, people have been trying to optimize their website to make sure this new change doesn't adversely impact their rankings. However, mobile-first indexing doesn't eliminate or derank desktop results as long as the desktop results are simultaneously mobile-friendly. Since there's a lot of confusion around what this change actually means, let's dive into what it is and how it might affect your ability to rank web pages in Google. What is mobile-first indexing? Mobile-first indexing performs three main functions: prioritizes the mobile version of a web page from the same domain. When two versions of a web page on the same domain are available, mobile-first indexing delivers the mobile-optimized version in search results. Prioritizes mobile results in the SERPs. When a user performs a search, Google's algorithm has to decide which web pages to display in the SERPs. With mobile-first indexing, Google's algorithm prioritizes mobile-optimized search results across the board. This means that your desktop web page will be outranked by a mobile-optimized web page of the same nature. Beginning in March 2021, desktop web pages won't even be indexed. Searches Google's mobile database first. Google has one search results database, but has been segmenting results as either desktop or mobile. Google used to pull search results from the desktop segment first, but now searches the mobile segment for results first. This means that if you don't have any mobile-optimized web pages indexed in Google's database, and mobile-optimized web pages match a user's search, you're unlikely to rank high regardless of how much work you've put into your website. As Google stops indexing desktop-only web pages, if you don't have mobile-friendly web pages, it will eventually become impossible to rank high in the SERPs. Although it seems like many websites would be hit hard by this change, that's not the case. Most people haven't had any major issues ranking because of this change simply because most modern websites are responsive, making them naturally mobile-friendly. Who will mobile-first indexing impact the most? You might be wondering how mobile-first indexing will affect your search engine rankings. The answer depends on how your website is built. As stated above, Google says that some people don't need to worry about this change at all. For instance, if your website is responsive and serves the same pages to desktop and mobile users, you don't need to be concerned. You do, however, need to be concerned if you serve separate websites to desktop and mobile users.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.